Hi, my name is Jim, and I am a victim. No, an accomplice of love. 8 months ago, I survived something truly tragic. 112 people died. My wife and I were 2 of only 4 people who survived. I don't think that was luck. I met Katerina while on vacation in Russia. I'm from the United States. We hit it off quickly, and I became enchanted. 2 weeks in Moscow turned into permanent residency. That was 3 years ago. We've been married ever since. And I didn't mind that she decided against having kids. Having her by my side was enough for me. She was easy to live with. In all our time together, we never had even a minor disagreement. She was extremely flexible. She knew how to adjust to my temperament. Sometimes it felt like she was acting from a script. But somehow, it still felt natural. She was brilliant. 2 PhDs before turning 28. Anatomy, microbiology. She was unlike any woman I had ever been with. We always made time to spice up our love life. So it came as no surprise when she suggested a romantic train voyage, a week-long journey, a luxury private train, with several sightseeing stops along the way. Since we were both self-employed, taking time off wasn't difficult. We booked the Imperial Suite of the Golden Eagle, the most exclusive cabin on the train. From the number of cabins, I estimated there were about 100 passengers on board. A couple our age took a liking to us. They were French. You could tell from the thick accent. Very chatty. The type of people who lived for life's thrills. Good people. The audio system announced the itinerary. We were scheduled to stop at a tourist destination on day 3. The French couple couldn't stop talking about how excited they were. My wife jokingly replied that we might end up spending the entire trip boxed inside the train. They laughed. But something about the comment made me uneasy. I had known Katerina for years. She joked often. But sarcasm wasn't really her style. When she noticed me looking at her, she just smiled. I convinced myself I was overthinking it. That night we drank. Katerina kept refilling my glass. I remember teasing her about it. She smiled and said, "You'll be fine." We partied with the French couple, met a few more passengers. By every measure, it was a great night. Eventually, we returned to our suite. We collapsed onto the bed in a heap, drunk out of our minds. Before long, we both fell asleep. The next morning, I woke up with the worst hangover of my life and a small raised bump on my arm, like an insect bite. Katerina was still asleep. I checked the time. Almost midday. I was debating whether to wake her when a scream tore through the hallway. A sharp scream from the opposite cabin. Katerina sat upright instantly. Without saying a word to each other, we stepped into the corridor. A small crowd had gathered outside the cabin, mostly crew members, a few passengers. Every single face looked horrified. The French couple was dead. Blood leaking from their eyes, their ears, their noses. Within hours, 3 more passengers were gone. Then 5, then 10. High fever, internal hemorrhaging, rapid collapse. The train doctor was overwhelmed. That's when my wife stepped in, calm, clinical. She told the doctor it appeared to be viral, possibly engineered. She began assisting with examinations, cabin by cabin, passenger by passenger. She insisted. Even when I told her it wasn't safe, I was terrified for her. But I had to respect her wishes. By day 3, the train was sealed. Quarantine had been ordered. No one was allowed off. Passengers were dying in their sleep. Meals sat untouched in the hallways. Crew members locked themselves inside the control cabin. And somehow, we weren't sick. On the 4th day, the train finally reached an isolation facility. The voice over the speaker sounded terrified. Names were called, one by one. Mine, Katerina's. The train driver, the conductor. That was it. 112 dead. 4 survivors. We were kept in isolation for 21 days. Constant testing, sampling, monitoring. Every result came back clean. No infection, no antibodies. As if I had never been exposed. The months that followed were hell. Nightmares, therapy, trying to rebuild some sense of normal life. Katerina seemed less affected. She buried herself in work. Perhaps that was her way of coping. Eventually, life began to resemble normal again. 8 months later, I came home from the gym. Katerina wasn't home. I went into the study to get some work done. While searching a drawer for a pen, something caught my attention. The middle drawer seemed shallower than the others. That was strange. I had opened that drawer dozens of times before. I pulled it out completely. There was a tiny finger hole in the corner, a false bottom. I lifted the panel. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. Just papers, reports, notes. Then I saw the handwriting. Katerina's cabin numbers. Immune response markers. She made it. She released it. She murdered them all. One line was highlighted. Subject J, protected. My mind flashed back instantly. The bump on my arm. Red. Raised. Like an injection site. She had given me the antidote while I slept. Dosed me like an animal. Without asking. Without telling me. Because she knew what was coming. There was no miracle. Katerina was the executioner on that train. She boarded knowing exactly what would happen. The virus spread through contact. She examined every passenger herself, every single one, except for 2, the driver and the conductor. The realization made me nauseous. My head spun. It took everything I had to reach the living room. I collapsed onto the sofa. A few hours later, Katerina came home. I looked at the woman I had given up everything for. She wasn't just brilliant. She wasn't just ambitious. She was a murderer. She looked at me once and instantly knew that I knew. Why? That was the only word my lips could form. She paused, as if considering the best response. Then she continued walking toward the bedroom. I followed her, my anger boiling over. Why did you murder those people? She turned and looked at me, and in her eyes, I saw a stranger. No remorse, no regret, just emptiness, almost boredom. Did you ever love me? I asked. She said nothing, and suddenly it hit me. Our perfect relationship, our lack of conflict, our effortless harmony. I had never been her partner. I had been her test subject, an extracurricular experiment, something to make her life interesting. I will tell the authorities, I threatened. For the first time, her expression changed, a small smirk. You don't want to do that, she said. The people I work with will have your head on a spike. In that moment, I understood how deep this truly went. She had already handed them a biological weapon. And now, I knew about it. I sank to my knees, my entire life collapsing around me. There was no escape, no justice, no way out. So I walked back to the study, picked up my pen. My hands were shaking, and began writing. Hi, my name is Jim, and I am an accomplice of love. My wife is a murderer, and I can never tell anyone, because if I do, we both die. So I write this confession knowing it will never be read, knowing I will carry this secret until it kills me, or until she does. And even though I know what she is, a part of me still chooses her.